Hello and welcome to Daily Doodles number 7. Tonight I'm going to be making a snowflake. So with all that geometry, it's going to be a little bit more precise when preparing. So I'm going to start out with an elliptical shape. Elliptical marquee is the tool name. And by additionally pressing Shift, I can open up a perfect circle. So I'll set that up just about this big. And let's try moving it up. And over this way. Now I am going to fill it with this first color, rhino. That's a hexacode 283957. Right, now that we have this circle, that section selected, I'm going to use these guides to show where the center is and where the sides are. I'm going to use these guides to get specifications on the placement. Okay, and let's see, now that this is done, I'm going to take out half of the circle. You may be wondering what this has to do with snowflakes, and I'm going about this the same way that you would with a little paper snowflake. Okay, and then I take this one, and I cut that out. And the last quarter, I'm going to divide into an eighth. So I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees. And then move it so that the center is right there at that center mark. And this has turned our circle into 1/8 of such. Okay, now this is where the fun part comes in. So you take that and rotate it back to no, that isn't it. Well, we can go with that. And I'm just going to delete the guides, clear them out. And I'm going to start creating my snowflake. Okay, so in a separate layer, I'm going to start drawing it out. Color I'm going to work with is Sundown, FFB2B2, and try keeping as steady a hand as possible. And it's going to be a little bit thick, just so that it reads well. And it's okay to go over the perimeter of this slice because we're going to cut that out afterwards. And so a fun little design. This reminds me a little bit of lace work. And there we go. So I'm going to select that, switch over to this layer, and remove everything that isn't in that shape, that slice shape. Oops. Benefit of the digital art is that you can undo. And I'm going to inverse the selection. Okay, so the thing that we're going to do now is I know. And trust me here, I'm doing this entirely on a whim. I'm playing it by ear, so it's not all thought out. The next step that I'm going to do is divide 360 degrees by 8. In the spirit of Daily Doodles, let's do the math here. 60 divided by 8. More. Okay, so I think that is 4 there. Minus 32 equals 40. 5. 40. Let's hope that all works out. Again, I did not expect to be doing long division tonight. Okay, so we du each time we duplicate the layer, I'm going to rotate it again 45 degrees. I have the center sighted upon. And now let's give it a try. So rotate 45 degrees. And then duplicate. Rotate. "45 degrees." Rotate. I apologize if this is a little boring to some. Duplicate and rotate. I think that still works. 45. And then we're going to duplicate and rotate. Another 45. And duplicate and rotate. Yeah. And then duplicate and rotate. There we go. These aren't entirely matching up, but they won't have to. I'll show you why. And one more time, duplicate and rotate. All right, now time for the next step. We merge down all those layers into one pink snowflake, one sundown snowflake. Merge down, merge down. There. Now that we have it, we can erase these guides. Clear out this. And I'm going to switch to my pencil because this is going to be all the background. Let's see, what's a good size pencil tip? You can just have fun and lots of fun with this. This is where it gets a little bit more arts and craftsy. It's going to be a snowflake rhino, and I'm not sure where else you might find a rhino and a snowflake in the same place. The powers of creativity, my friends. And a little bit more. Does it work? Yes, it does. So the next thing, we're going to make the selection, move it down to the layer with the blue, and cut. Clean this up. The eraser. So this is going to be a combination of working subtractively and additively. A little bit of a back and forth. And this is what we have right now. And this is the fun part. Even more fun. Okay, so we're going to minimize the pencil tip for when we're doing the sundown in the buttermilk. The reason that I wanted to do this snowflake, why I wanted to draw this snowflake, doodle it, is that it has that crystalline appearance. So using this, I'm going to create sort of a butterfly wing effect, pulling out all the nice little colors. And at this point, it just becomes sort of a doodle, sort of a coloring book adventure. So how many of you viewers are in an area that gets a lot of snow? During these months, in Boston, it's December, and that's our winter season. I'm aware that in some other parts of the world, you have your winters at the other side of the year, around June and July. How many of you enjoy snow? We just had a lot of sleet and a couple inches of snow the other day. It accumulates. It was right in time for a white Christmas. So the sundown color doesn't even have to align with the blue. It is just a different type of color refracting in this crystal. I like to think that you can't entirely see a snowflake or a raindrop unless there is some type of light to reflect upon it. And so, like a prism, this is going to refract a few colors that you wouldn't have expected. And between the white and the rhino blue, it'll create something all the cooler to see. No pun intended on cool. Alright, just a little bit there, a little bit there. All the snow. Undo. A couple years ago, I learned about a culture where the people have turned making lace and what is these carvings called stone lace and illuminated texts, these vibrantly colored religious texts. Crafting it is a meditative art for them. And it's a way that it sustained their faith. I find that pretty cool, and working on this snowflake, I can see how it helped. I think that is working on the same concept. It's like those coloring books that people work on as a method of relaxing. It just gives you something to focus on. And so the next is the buttermilk. And that will give an extra amount of pop to this snowflake's gleam. And if you're following along at home, you can choose whatever colors you'd like, bright and shiny or dark and dull, dark and matte. I guess. Matte. I'm just going to try pairing the sundown with the buttermilk. There we are. And one last touch is that we're going to go in with the rhino, but drop back on the opacity, and the size of the tip, because now we can see a little bit of that background shining through. We get so much levity from these bright colors. And this is to ground us. Not in a bad way, but just showing the direction of where the snowflake is going. Part of what is so amazing about these snowflakes is that, while beautiful, they're also fragile. Showing the presence of the blue appearing through the water crystal, showing through the snow particle as design. It is a reminder of just how fragile these little things are. So we're almost finished. It's a little bit like a spider web, which is also very geometric, but at the same time fragile. And something that took concentration to make. Take that there. Snowflake. In Boston, it's supposed to be cold for a while, and that could mean a whole lot more snow. Just going to take out one of those rhino marks. Almost done. This is nearing the end. So we're just going to add a little bit of pink in the background. And a little bit of buttermilk. A little bit of white. And a moment of surrealism. This here snowflake is the only one that's close by and is close enough for us to examine. Okay. So this has been Daily Doodles by Ken Coleman. If you like this video, there is a button down below that you can feel free to give me a thumbs up. Looks like that. Or if you'd like, you can also subscribe and see all new videos. Yes, that's a C. All right, so enjoy. I hope you like this video. Bye.